Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bad Rankings here. Today I'm going to be personifying and ranking some of the basic colors based on how much of a good friend or person I think they are. The rankings are ride or die at the top. This, of course, are the colors that I think would be your ride or die kind of friends. Let's hang. These are the colors that I think you definitely want to hang out with. You'd go out of your way a bit to actually spend some time with them. We got the friend tier, which are colors I think you would say are your friend, but they're not the top. They're not the best, but you're cool, and yeah, they're your friends. Associate are the colors that you would associate with, right? You know your coworkers, or you say you associate with them. You're not actually necessarily friends or anything, but you tolerate, you talk sometimes, maybe not. And then the final tier is the who needs enemies tier. Coming from the phrase, with friends like these, who needs enemies? These are the colors I would say actively give you a hard time. Yeah, so let's get into it. I got some of the colors I want to rank right here. Let's start with orange. Orange seems like they would be a real average kind of guy. Like I would totally be fine to see him at a function and would probably strike up a conversation with him. I'd probably even get into a fairly deep conversation with him, though I don't think I would necessarily be trying to go out of my way to hang with Orange. I also don't think that Orange would necessarily be trying to go out of his way to hang out with me. But whenever we do hang out, I think it would be a decent time, and we'd probably talk whenever we found ourselves in the same place. Orange really is just a guy that I would say isn't significant one way or the other, good or bad, but it's decent. So I would put him probably in the friend spot. I think that's like a real solid explanation of what I think friend would be. Yeah, just a run of the mill kind of guy. Now on to purple. I would say that I immediately feel like purple is one of the boys. He's definitely a real chill dude that doesn't like to rock the boat too much, but he is great to hang around. This guy's making small quips when hanging out that always get a chuckle from the few people that hear him say it. He's a bit quiet. He certainly isn't the main funny guy of the group. You're never really having a bad time with purple. He's considerate and down for most activities. You don't really have to do much convincing to get him to do something. I'm sure this guy also knows some sweet locations to hang out. He'll find you some sweet swimming hole or something like that, or a nice new restaurant to try out. You pretty much always know you have a cool new spot to check out whenever he suggests somewhere to go. Yeah, I think for sure I would want to hang out with purple. I'm also a little bit biased. Purple's my favorite color, so maybe that's playing into it, but I'm putting purple in the let's hang tier. Moving on to blue. I feel like blue is the guy that can both be fun and annoying. This is the guy that on the surface seems pretty nice. Like he's always down to do whatever you or other people suggest. And he doesn't really want to break the flow of things. And this does seem kind of cool at first, but you soon realize that this is because he never really has any ideas of his own. He never really wants to do anything, and he never really suggests a place to eat. So he's not really adding much to the hangout sesh, you know what I'm saying? This starts to be annoying sometimes when you actually want to bounce ideas off of someone and have a bit more of a back and forth. He's very much a yes man, which is nice when you want it, but it does blow when you don't want that. He doesn't really add much. It's not really helpful when you want to figure out something or hash something out, but he is a decent guy. He isn't the most fun to be around, but he's chill. You're all right. I think for those reasons, I'm putting him into the friend tier. He's all right. All right. Now pink. Pink. I feel like this guy is just straight up annoying. Pink is loud and loves to talk, which I guess can be cool sometimes when the energy calls for it. but that usually isn't the case. So he's kind of cool in very select situations. I feel like pink doesn't really care about what others think, which they consider a good thing, but in reality, this just kind of makes them inconsiderate. They're not malicious or anything, though. They just are a bit self-centered. This is someone that I find kind of annoying. I don't have any real serious issues with them, though, so I feel like that would keep them, out of this tier. But I feel like I'd put pink in the associate tier. I'm not really trying to hang with pink. I feel like their energy is an energy that some people might vibe with more, but not for me. All right, and moving on to gray. I think gray is kind of like the opposite of pink, but not in a good way. Like, this is the coworker that you never talk to. He's very low energy. This guy is always doing his own thing. He never asks for help and never offers it himself. He's the guy you really never talk to. You might see him at a function and he's just sitting in the corner sipping on like a gin and tonic. Anytime you have tried to talk to him, he's clearly not interested. And he probably gives like one-word responses, which make you give up talking to him. You know almost nothing about Gray besides that, like, he clearly only has like 3 shirts because you never seen him wear a 4th one. The 3 shirts are also just white, gray, black. And he also only wears jeans. He's very plain. I guess this means you really don't have much of an opinion of this guy. But I feel like that does put him in the associate tier. I think that's a good spot to put him. Moving on to red. I think that red is a straight up menace. I'm putting him in the who needs enemies tier. Let me explain. I feel like red is the guy that you were friends with them when you were a teenager, but this is before you knew any better, and you thought he was fun because he was always doing some crazy thing like trespassing, stealing, or doing something stupid like trying to smoke the cigarette butts that he finds lying on the floor. Pretty much this guy's always doing some stupid act. And when you were friends, I feel like red is the guy that when he finds out that you were crushing on someone, he'd always try to do some move to embarrass you in front of them just because he thought it was funny. And so it would always ruin your chances with going out with anyone you liked in high school or something like that. But now as an adult, you're definitely staying away from red as much as possible. He has since been arrested multiple times for sure. And you're actually hoping that more charges would stick to him so he could be kept off the streets. I think red is just a terrible influence, and I don't know who would consider him an actual friend. You don't want to associate with red. Your life and reputation would just completely suffer. Yeah, I think this is appropriate. All right. Moving on to black. Let's see. I feel like black is kind of like the slightly slow gym bro. Like, he means well, even though he can get hot-headed at times. You never have to guess what's on his mind because, first of all, what's on his mind is usually pretty simple, but he also wears his emotions on his sleeve. Black is a loyal guy and loves his friends. I feel like he would back you up even when he doesn't know what's going on. If you're hanging out and someone else comes up and starts making trouble for you, I feel like you can trust Black to have your back, and he would throw hands with the guy if it's needed. And he might even try to push it to that, even if it's not needed, just because he's hot-headed, and he might actually look for a fight sometimes. Even though Black isn't someone you can really contemplate life with, he reminds you that sometimes the solutions to your problems are a lot more simple than what you first thought. And you know that Black has a good heart, and you can pretty much always count on him, right? Like, he has your back, he'll do what's needed, he's a simple guy, and he cares about his friends. So I think Black kind of is a ride or die kind of friend. You don't really have an issue with him. He's a great guy. He has your back. He's just a little simple. I like Black. Moving on to green. I feel like green is a mix of both fun and annoying. Green is definitely the guy that thinks he is hilarious. He is cracking jokes all the time. Granted, I feel like half the time he is getting some good laughs from both you and or other people in the group, but the other half of the time, his jokes are either landing flat or poorly timed. There's never a moment where I feel like Green is being serious. You don't know if this is just how he is, or if this is a cope because, again, he is never serious with you. This makes Green great when you are having or wanting a high-energy, goofy time. But on the flip side, it makes him rather annoying when the situation is more low energy or serious. You can't really ever connect with Green because he's never straight up with you. Because of this, I would say this puts Green in a situation where half the time you want to hang out with him, half the time you don't because of him never being serious. And since it's half and half, I feel like he goes in the friend tier. He's good for a good time. He's bad for a serious time. He's all right. Now on to White. White, great guy. I feel like you don't really have anything that is actually bad to say about White, though I don't feel like he's your best friend either. White is a guy that is kind of like doing his own life, doing his own thing, and he doesn't really hang out too much. But whenever you do hang out, I'd say it's a good time. He's pleasant to be around and will have some good advice to give when you bring up problems. I feel like White is not super energetic, but he also does not bring the energy down. So he's not bad for whatever vibe you want. I also feel like White would cover for you if, let's say, the group wants to go do something that costs money and you don't have the funds to do it, but you want to also join. I feel like he'd have your back in that situation. And I feel like because partly you don't actually get to spend time with him that often, I feel like you get a bit more excited to hang out with White when you actually do spend time with him. I would say White is a solid guy, and you're pretty much saying yes anytime he asks to hang. And for that reason, I feel like he belongs in the let's hang tier. You're always saying yes to hanging out with White. He's a fun, good guy. It's just not that often that you get to hang out with White. Moving on to Brown. Brown is a weird guy. This is a guy that is constantly making pop culture references. In fact, I feel like Brown's whole personality is just pop culture. He only ever really talks about movies or shows and is constantly referencing scenes from like The Office, which I'm sure he has watched The Office like at least 10 times. You can't really relate to the guy outside of pop culture, which makes him really boring to be around. I don't think you're ever going out of your way to hang out with Brown or even talk to him just because that's his whole personality. Though at the same time, you don't really have any real issues with Brown, so he's not really terrible. He's just very boring and predictable. So I think he belongs in the associate tier. I don't think you'd ever call him a friend. You tolerate him. There's nothing really to him. Last but not least, certainly not least, I saved Yellow for last because I feel like Yellow is the best friend. I'm putting him above Black. Yellow is the best friend. He is the guy that you've been boys with since you first met. His vibe is always matching yours, and it's almost like you know what each other are thinking. He always has your back, kind of similar to Black, but unlike Black, I feel like Yellow would actually call you out on your bull because he doesn't want you acting stupid and he wants you to improve as a person. You always want to hang out with Yellow, and he always wants to hang out with you. And every single time you hang out, even if significant time has passed, I feel like you guys just pick up right where you left off. Like, he's the go-to. He is the best friend. You go to him for any problem, for any comfort. He is the ride or die. All right. Thanks for watching my bad ranking. Catch you next time.